Greetings of peace, people. This is yours truly, Bionic Anseng, Francis Coleman. And today I would just like to discuss with you a theory of mine, a theory that I've been thinking about for the last 15 years concerning the characters of the Suikoden series, specifically Suikoden 4 and Suikoden 1. Now we all know, for us Suikoden fans, the events of Suikoden 4 happened 150 years before the events of Suikoden 1. So, the game is connected somehow because of the recurring characters of Suikoden 4 and Suikoden 1, specifically Ted, the bearer of the true rune, the Soul Eater. Now, my theory, first and foremost, is that a character in the Suikoden 4, the name Aldo, is connected somehow to the windy character of Suikoden 1. The antagonist, the main antagonist of Suikoden 1 is Windy. And my theory is that if Windy is not Aldo himself, maybe Aldo is connected somehow to Windy. Here's why I made that kind of conclusion. In the Suikoden 4 game, almost all of the characters can be recruited at certain locations. And I might say that all the locations of the characters are logical to why they are there. However, there is one particular character that I just could not figure out why is he there. And that's Aldo, who can be recruited in the deserted islands just a few blocks away from where the house of Eleanor Silverbird, the strategist. And in Suikoden 4, if you talk to Aldo in the recruitment, he will say that he was separated from his company a while back. But if you look at the situation, how could you be separated with your company where you're in a deserted island? Why, did your companions leave you in that island? Shouldn't they have just, if you're just stuck on that island, shouldn't your companions look for you before they left? So when I first looked at Aldo, okay, you're there, okay, it's a good recruit, one of the 108 stars of destiny. But things started to happen when I recruited Ted in the fog ship. When you talk to Aldo, he has this quite some obsession with Ted and his rune, the Soul Eater. So okay, I told myself, okay, I look at the profile of Aldo and I seem to notice that the face of Aldo, the shape of the face of Aldo resembles the shape of the face of Windy in Suikoden 1. Now, of course, Windy is female and Aldo is male. However, Windy is powerful enough because she has a true rune, the gate rune, the true great rune. So she can manipulate her appearance, or she can capture a person's appearance in order to hide herself during the said events of Suikoden 4. Now here is the reason why I suspect Aldo to be Windy also. If you look at the comment box of the Suikoden 4 where the characters give their opinion on the ship and the leadership of Laszlo and the other characters, you will see that Ted in his dialogue box, or Aldo in his dialogue box, the first greeting is, "Hello, having so many people around makes me a bit nervous. It's been a long time since I've talked to people, so I've been feeling tense." Okay. And the second is Aldo immediately talked about Ted in the comment box. "Have you noticed that Ted avoids people like the plague? I hope I can do what I can to be his confidant." Okay. And the third is, again, Aldo talked about Ted and he said that Ted spoke to me just a little about his rune. Okay, so now in the first comment of Aldo, he said that there are so many people around that he, made him so tense. He's so tense that he immediately went to the person that's also an antisocial, and that's Ted. Why not go and talk to someone like Shotalheim Ryback III, Gao, or even Chipu? Those three are really a socialist in the sense that they can be approached to and they can be fun to be with. But Aldo went immediately to Ted, who is also antisocial. So I thought to myself, okay, that may be a coincidence, okay? I'm really putting so much to it. But things got a little bit weirder when I read the comment box as written by Ted. Here's Ted's 3 comments. The first comment of Ted is, "Don't mind me. If you got no business, don't come approach me, please, okay? That's because of the Soul Eater." We understand that's the Soul Eater. Now, the second comment of Ted is about Aldo. "What's with that Aldo guy? He looks kind of familiar. I just want to be left alone. When you see him, tell him to just mind his own business." Okay, and the third is fish. "I never really cared for fish, but that tuna I had earlier was good." The second comment of Ted in the comment box is suspicious. "He looks kind of familiar." So, as I've said before, the events of Suikoden 4 takes place 150 years before the events of Suikoden 1. But the history of the rune, the Soul Eater, precedes that. The history of the Soul Eater extends 150 years before the events of Suikoden 4. In the village of the Hidden Rune, where the grandfather of Ted passed the Soul Eater to Ted, because Windy, Uber, and Neclord attacked the village of the Hidden Rune. By the way, just my comment, if you really want to hide your rune, maybe stop calling your village of the Hidden Rune, right? So that's the event that really got my attention when Ted said that he looks kind of familiar. Maybe he's looking at the resemblance of Aldo to Windy, and that's why he said he looks kind of familiar. There's no other reason for Ted to say that. Now, in the website suikosource.com, where I also written this theory back then in 2012, there's a lot of Suikoden fans who also said that maybe he's talking about Tyr Macdol, who went back in time from Suikoden 1 to the village of the Hidden Rune for the last 300 years. So that's the reason why Ted maybe thought of Aldo as Tyr Macdol. However, I have problems with this kind of reasoning. First and foremost, and some of the Suikoden fans also supported me in this theory, that Tyr Macdol, Victor, and Cleo went back to the past 300 years, but it's not as if they can alter the events of the past. They were just there for the spectator. Oh, sure, they can talk to Ted and his grandfather, but in reality, nothing has changed. The village of the Hidden Rune still was destroyed, and that Ted, when they were trying to get back in the present, was not able to accompany them. So it really supports my theory that they were there to experience what happened in the village of the Hidden Rune 300 years ago. And lastly, the theory that says that Tyr Macdol, Victor, and Cleo were there is really illogical, because if they were really there, if Windy, Neclord, and Hubert can really see them and could interact with them, why didn't Windy just get the rune from Tyr Macdol? Tyr Macdol has the possession of the Soul Eater when he went back to the past. So, in reality, in the village of the Hidden Rune, when Tyr Macdol, Cleo, and Victor went there, there are 2 Soul Eaters. One in the possession of the grandfather of Ted that was passed to Ted, and the other was with Tyr Macdol. So why didn't Windy just get the Soul Eater from Tyr Macdol? Or maybe Tyr Macdol or Windy could have given some comment as to the presence of another Soul Eater. Since Windy did not even mention that, it really gives teeth to my theory that they were just there to experience what happened 300 years ago in the village of the Hidden Rune. And another thing as to why I thought that Aldo was Windy was the manner in which Aldo died of the mysterious circumstances. As you can see, spoiler alert, in the aftermath of the events of Suikoden 4, it is said that Aldo, concerned about Ted, Aldo runs after him. It is said that Aldo later passed away due to a mysterious accident. Is it really an accident? Or is it the Soul Eater rejecting Windy? Okay. Some people may say that, hey, if Aldo is Windy or is someone connected with Windy, why didn't he just, took the Soul Eater away from Ted in the ship? Laszlo, with his rune of punishment, is really a powerful dude. So maybe Windy is or Aldo have thought twice of trying to steal the Soul Eater within the ship. And of course, there are some people who says that, hey, your theory is not feasible. Why? Because Windy in Suikoden 1 told Ted that he hasn't seen him for 300 years. But is that really what Windy said to Ted? Windy told Ted in Suikoden 1 that you haven't changed a bit in 300 years. I'm envious. You can conclude that that's the same as I haven't seen you in 300 years, but it's not really that direct. Maybe Windy was just referring to the first time that she met Ted. And of course, Windy is Aldo in Suikoden 4. So, referring to that time of 150 years is not really logical for Windy. So, what I'm saying is, the dialogue of Windy in Suikoden 1 negates the theory that Windy did not saw Ted for 300 years. You can conclude on another theory, just as I have, that this kind of dialogue does not really mean that they haven't seen each other for 300 years. So another instance why I conclude that Windy is Aldo is the coincidence. Aldo was there in deserted islands at the events of the Suikoden 4, the Island Liberation War. And where was Ted located? In the fog ship somewhere in the Island Nations Federation. So maybe, just maybe, Windy was searching for Ted in the Island Nations, and he succeeded because Ted was seen in the Island Nation Federation in the fog ship. And as I've said before, Aldo was in the deserted islands. Maybe she was looking for Ted there, but she saw Eleanor Silverberg drinking some wine from Kanakan. So my theory is not really that far-fetched if you just look at the circumstances. What are the odds of Aldo being on deserted islands and Ted just showing up in the Island Nation Federation for the Island Liberation War? These two are not coincidence. It is connected somehow with Windy's frantic search to the Soul Eater. So, as I've said, this theory is really controversial because there's a lot of Suikoden fans in Suikosaurus who supported my assertion that, hey, maybe your theory is not really that far-fetched at all, because how convenient it is for someone like Aldo to just be abandoned in the deserted islands and then, conveniently just recruited in the army fighting the Kuluk, and right then and there, met Ted, who got the Soul Eater. So, this theory is not yet debunked because, as of course, Konami has not released any Suikoden game based on the Suikoden universe of Suikoden 1 and 5. So, this may not be debunked yet. So, I am imploring the Suikoden fans to comment on this YouTube channel in this video as to what are their perceptions regarding my theory. So hopefully I was able to explain my hypothesis why I believe Windy was Aldo in Suikoden 4, or if not, she was connected with Aldo. Last but not the least, if you look at the final confrontation of Tyr McDowell and Windy back then in Great Minister in Suikoden 1, Windy said this statement: "Why do you reject me, Soul Eater? You control life and death and eat souls." Now, I don't know if Windy has research about the Soul Eater, but I have not seen in the story of Suikoden 1 that Windy has saw the soul-eating capability of the Soul Eater. When Tyr McDowell and the parties were trying to find the plant, and Ted said that he is sacrificing his soul to the Soul Eater, I don't think Windy has seen that, because the events that transpired was inside the Soul Eater. So meaning it was only Ted and Tyr McDowell who was talking with each other and Windy was not involved. So when did Windy experience the soul eating capability of the Soul Eater? Maybe, just maybe, when Aldo rushed towards Ted after Suikoden 4, the soul of Aldo, who was somewhat connected with Windy, was eaten by the Soul Eater. It's not far-fetched. It has not yet been debunked. So I'm welcoming any reaction from the Suikoden fans out there. Okay? Now if you like this Suikoden theory of mine, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel Bionic Anseng and hit that notification bell so you will be updated to my latest updates, theories, uploads, and of the games that I've been using for trophy hunting. Thank you, peeps, and God bless you all. Stay safe.